No, ladies and gentlemen, no, this was not a clickbait title nor thumbnail. This weird looking double-barreled SD1, or in this case I should say SD2, actually kinda exists, because it is still in under super epic hyper mega giga close testing, internal testing by Wargaming staff members. But What Express, which is a Russian news site about all kinds of news, what is happening in this game, what is going to happen in this game, about the World of Tanks, about the World of Warships sometimes, and the World of Tanks Blitz as well, every once in a while. But yesterday, where is it? Come on, over here. They released one really interesting article. It is in full Russian, but you know, guys, clicking this button. Come on, why I cannot do that? Okay, let's try that again. Yes, clicking this button. After that, we are the best. We are all the best at speaking Russian. So, ladies and gentlemen, please keep that in mind. Everything you are going to see is not final. It is not even started yet. It is so closed, so internal, it is not even funny. I don't know how else to say it. Anyway, let's have a look. I think this is going to be super broken English over here, but the developers of World of Tanks are testing the mechanics of 2 mouse on their internal focus tests. Several participants of such tests told us at once. So I guess the information actually came from the inside. Several test participants gave this information to What Express. But anyway, how I understand this new mechanic of 2 mouse is working like is your 2 mouse buttons are acting as fire buttons. Currently, a left mouse button acts as fire button in the World of Tanks at the moment, and right mouse button is auto aim button. But with this new gun system, as you can see from this big looking tank picture, this tank has 2 barrels. So if you click your left mouse button, your left barrel fires. If you click your right mouse button, your right barrel fires. And if you click them together, both double barrels fires at the same time. So some double barrel action is possible as well. So I tried to use some level 2 translation over here. Little details yet, but in the photo is already a finished prototype. Yes, we are going to look at the pictures fairly soon. Called ST-102 version 2. The tank itself is already in HD with 2 guns, then only you can draw conclusions. Okay. Yes, Oldie will immediately remember ST2 developer answers. Ooh, link to the article. So Oldie, I guess, means older players, older followers will immediately remember one article. So developers were actually hinting towards this type of gun mechanic or this type of vehicle a while back, seems like it, with 2 trunks, and they will be absolutely right. True. It is not entirely clear. This is the mechanic for the OPD, whatever that means. Mode, maybe special mode or for random, but most likely it is still about random battles. But moving on, right now there are 2 working concepts from which the choice will be made exactly how these 2 guns will work. The first tests were carried out last week with some focus group super testers. This is something they have done in the past as well, for example with what is the latest gun system? Auto reloading gun system, for example, was also internally tested before. Then maybe when they introduced the siege mode for the STRV 103B, for example, that Swedish tank destroyer siege mode, they did some internal testing for that siege mode as well. I remember it from one of their developer diaries episodes. So this is not anything new that they are doing some super closed internal testing, and this is fine by me. They should test something like this. Or they should test every single new mechanic internally at first, after that super test, after that maybe sandbox if it is a game-changing, a complete rework, then sandbox testing, then public testing, and then into the live server. This should be the cycle, at least in my opinion. But moving on, it sounds good and this is probably one of the most anticipated and interesting mechanic players. Alas, neither the client nor the replays were reproduced. It is also interesting that the current client is able to support this two cannon mechanics. Yes, we actually kinda have it in the game already, I think. One of the reward vehicles had double barrel action, but you had to click one mouse button. Types of shooting. For this gun, you can immediately shoot two guns and wait for a cooldown in 10 to 17 seconds. Or you can prepare a shot charge in advance, 5 to 7 seconds. So what they try to say over here, once again, as far as I understand, you can either use some double barrel action, double shotgun barrel action, by clicking both mouse buttons, and the full reload time is 10 to 17 seconds, depending on the gun, depending on the caliber, depending on tear, depending on everything. Or you can fire your guns one by one after every 5 to 7 seconds. I hope, I hope this 5 to 7 seconds is not about 440 alpha damage 122mm gun, which that SDI can use, or SD1 can use. For historicity, do not worry, everything is strictly within. Okay, if you say so. And now let's take a look at the pictures. This is funny. They really loved this comment. A couple jokes. Oh boy. Yeah. It reminds you. If it reminds you that, then okay. Go ahead. But yeah, this is a completely ready HD prototype with 2 barrels. New gun system. A completely ready SD2. So what they did, they simply, as one guy said, where is it? Yep, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. They simply added 1 extra barrel on the SD1. Here is SD2. Once again, full HD, high quality model, high quality prototype, double barrel action. So this is not the hardest model to make, of course. Visually, at least, not the hardest model to make, but inside, what is happening inside, all the coding, to make it happen. Of course, this takes some extra work, but yeah, they simply Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. Double barrel. At first, when I have to say, at first when I saw this news, I thought this is a Photoshop. I 100% thought this is a bloody Photoshop. And when I dived into it, when I actually did some other researching as well, then I got confirmed that Wargaming is actually testing this thing out internally. Once again, internally. I cannot state that enough, so I have to calm you guys sometimes. So it seems like those guns move both at the same time. So you cannot have different gun depression angles. Crazy looking tank, crazy looking picture. And this one. I think this is actually the best picture. Yeah, alien looking. Did they make the turret a bit wider as well, or not? Or maybe I'm simply imagining things. Anyway, this is this is what Express was saying about this vehicle. Let's check out the dailybounce.net blog as well. So let's have a look what Harkonnen has to say about it from the dailybounce.net blog. Once again, shout out to you guys. Maybe he has some more information. Superdest, the Soviet heavy tank SD2 spotted. It wasn't long ago we heard the World of Tanks developers mentioning the possibility of introducing an interesting, let's put it that way, tank into the game. Of course, all the quirky designs mostly come from your truly loved Mother Russia. And what else could we be talking about if not the Soviet heavy tank SD2? Exactly, ladies and gentlemen. My Mother Russian bias senses are tingling once again. It wasn't too long time ago when they introduced something completely unique, something innovative, special and unique. I said that already. Object 279E. Early. Yes. Comrade, I heard lower plate is the weakest part of almost every single tank in this game. Do you know the solution? Let's remove it. Said and done. No lower plate on object 279E. ST2, double barrel action. The vehicle is being said to have entered a closed super test stage. And by closed, we are talking about an internal test by Wargaming staff members. So it is as closed as it can be. Once again, guys, keep in mind everything is subject to change. Maybe this gun system, maybe this new mechanic is never going to make it into the game. No much details about the vehicle have been shared, no tier, no stats, and not much about the game mechanic that will be introduced with it. What Express has shared, I guess, information which I was unable to confirm, that the vehicle will have a new gun mechanic that will enable it to either shoot both barrels at the same time, so double barrel action, Schwarzenegger style, with a reload time of 15 to 17 seconds, or if you would like to shoot your enemies faster, you can use the single shot after every 5 to 7 seconds. Once again, it depends so much about the tier, about the caliber, about everything, how long your reload time is going to be. So those numbers are from the roof pretty much, taken from I don't know where. So here are a couple pictures sliding on the background. So moving on, of course, who wouldn't want yet another very balanced Soviet heavy tank in the game? Overpowered and broken have been scratched out, so most definitely this is not the case. Especially if it came from a napkin design that very much embeds the Soviet propaganda machine, where all Soviet tanks are balanced. Jokes aside. So yes, guys, please keep in mind this was all a joke. Jokes aside, I find it curious why such a vehicle would even be considered to be introduced in the game, and if it really makes it to the game, I wonder how much it will break the gameplay. Now this question can be answered quite easily. I wonder how much it will break the gameplay. It depends on how well they are going to balance it compared to the every other gun system, every other gun mechanic in this game. It depends on how well they are going to do it. For example, let's take what is a good example? Let's take auto reloading gun system, not autoloaders. Let's take auto reloading gun system for example. If not balanced correctly, it can be the most broken, the most overpowered gun system in the game. But when they were testing it out, at first it was actually kind of broken, but then they increased the reload time between shots, they increased the reload time for the first and the second shell if your clip was completely empty. They did quite a lot of testing, and at the end it turned out to be quite a decent gun mechanic, quite a decent system in my opinion. And exactly the same can be said about his new double barrel gun system. If it is balanced nicely, correctly, compared to the every single gun system in this game, single shot guns, auto reloading guns, auto loaders, whatever gun systems we have in this game, if it is balanced accordingly, correctly, well, compared to everything else in this game, then I welcome it to the game. If not, there is the door. And this makes or breaks this gun system for me. If it is available only in special modes, special events, I really do not care. It can be the most overpowered thing ever, like double 180mm gun system with 2-second reload time between shots. Go for it, but if they introduce it into the random battles, into the main game, higher tiers as well, let's say tier 8 plus, then it has to be tested for months, it has to be balanced compared to the single shot guns and all the other gun systems. Anyway, the vehicle is in very early stages of test and might never make it to the game. But what are your thoughts? Exactly, good question. What are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen? Please let me know in the comments. Would you like to see something like this in the game? Would you not like to see something like this in the game, and why? So, ladies and gents, this was my episode for you today. Something different, something completely different, never seen before. ST1 with double barrel, aka ST2. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, thumbs up button is for that. If you enjoy my content, subscribe. Make that red subscribe button gray. It is much cooler that way. Nice rhymes. I catch you next time with something else. Stay awesome, take care, and bye.